Today is Monday, February 9th, 2026, and this is Spring Office Hours, Season 5, Episode 5, Spring and AWS with James Ward. My name is Dan Vega, Spring Developer Advocate at Broadcom, joined by my good friend and colleague, Deshaun Carter. Deshaun, how's it going?
It is fantastic. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. It is a great time to be a Spring developer. And it's nice where I'm at. The sun is out. We're getting a little bit warm. I know the cold's coming again, Groundhog's Day and all that. But it's a great day. Other than the little GitHub issues that we've been having.
It's a super Monday after the Super Bowl as we're recording this. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did. I watched all of the commercials. I had my laptop in hand for the game. Yeah, I wasn't really invested, but yeah, I watched all the commercials.
You weren't really invested. I know it's really tough for you being to so many Super Bowls and not being in a Super Bowl. Yeah. I just want one in my lifetime. Can I just have one, please?
There's a gleam, I tell you. There's a gleam.
I really enjoyed the Anthropic commercials. I don't know if you caught those.
I did. Really I've been paying attention to that because you got to see a couple of those before the Super Bowl, and I was very impressed. I liked it, and I also saw the Codex commercial. I was surprised that they led with Codex, and then I saw
I missed that one.
Like somebody leaked the commercial that they were going to do, and there was kind of like a last minute change, I guess. So who knows? But yeah, I was very much tuned in to the
there was a really good one. I don't know if it aired, but I saw it before with 50 Cent and DoorDash.
That one did air.
Funny.
That
Okay.
one did air. Yes.
That one was great. So
yeah. Beef. Yep.
A lot of fun. What you been up to?
I'm just trying, again, we said it a few weeks ago, right? Building those systems, getting some consistency. I'm just trying to get to where I'm comfortable playing with the stuff that's there until I can just find a mode that I'm comfortable with. I watched your shows last week around Codex. I've been really having a good time with it. I like a lot of the features that it has, but also Claude has a bunch of really cool stuff. So I'm just trying to I would like to just pick one for my daily use. I'll still learn as I go, but I'd like to pick one, and I'm just trying to give each tool the same amount of time. Yeah. So last week I was using open code, and this week I'm switching back to Claude Code.
Cool.
So, yeah, just trying to do the scientific experiment kind of thing.
We said this at the beginning of the year on kind of our new season intro. I've been working on systems, and you know this, but I don't know if everybody else does. But I've been working on a tool called Content OS. It's a temporary name, but this is really a way to kind of manage all my content because I'm scatterbrained of I have this project over here. I'm working on this video. I have this podcast. I have these talks, trying to bring it all into one system. And it's been fun. Again, I think what a lot of these tools do for me is give me the ability to work on things that I probably wouldn't have the bandwidth to work on before. And this has been just so much fun to build because it's I'm just building it for me. Normally, in the past, I think if you put 2 months into a project, you're probably trying to make some money off of it. I'm not trying to make any money off that. This is just streamlining my workflows. And so that's been really fun to just kind of see how I can experiment with some of these tools and kind of push some of the limits. So it's been a lot of fun.
Making money off it. It has been a really interesting time. First of all, hey everybody, thank you for being here. And when you do say hello, tell us where you're joining from, because my mom and dad, they like to see what's going on. They like to watch where everybody's joining from. And if you are here in the live and you've got questions, make sure you ask. Because when you come to my house for dinner, if you leave hungry, that's your fault. So when you're here, you've got questions, you got feedback, go ahead and throw it in the chat. We got a
awesome community. If you're in the live stream, great. If you're not, we go ahead and replay this on the Spring Developer YouTube channel. We also go ahead and turn this into a podcast, which you can take on the run, on the go with you. You can find out more about this over at springofficehours.io, and you can get the podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
OSS is changing. And not everybody is in OSS for the money. And there's a lot of opportunities to make money off of OSS. And
Sure.
I like OSS. I like the community. I like Java for the community. And today I submitted a pull request to a project that I like that wasn't compatible with Spring Boot 4. I made it work with Spring Boot 4. And as I was doing the whole time I was doing it, I was afraid, are they going to throw this out? Are they overwhelmed with AI slop? What?
Yeah.
And I was trying to just be more human in the comments, like, hey, I did this, here's why, and here's what I was thinking. I didn't need these two, but I added them because.
That's good.
And I still am. And I had to wait a few hours before I could actually submit the pull request because there was issues this morning. But as soon as I do submit a pull request to any open source project, then I get into this mode of like, did they merge it yet? Did they merge it yet? Every morning I'm waking up, did they merge it yet? My inbox has got to be clean. Did they merge it yet? I want to see. I just get excited about that kind of stuff.
So you know what I'm excited about? Our guest today. Good friend of the show, not his first rodeo here on Spring Office Hours. So I'm excited, and I think we should stop chit-chatting and bring our good friend, Mr. James Ward, to the stage. James, how are you?
Hey, guys. Good, man. Thanks for having me. So good to be with you. Yeah.
Yeah. For those who haven't catched past episodes that you were on or may not know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about what you are up to these days and who you are?
Yeah, so I work at AWS, focused on agentic AI stuff, and a lot of that is around the Java ecosystem, so Java and Kotlin, and so that's been just super fun to help the developers that I love and know to get them building AI stuff, on the JVM, and so it's been super fun. Do quite a bit with MCP. We've got a team that works on MCP, works on the specification, works on implementations. They've contributed to the Java SDK for MCP and to work with them. And so it's just been super fun. What a fun time to be a developer.
Yeah. And a Java developer. I gotta admit, when I talk about Spring AI and AI in general to Java developers, I include one of your tweets in my presentation. I'm paraphrasing here, but you said I can almost guarantee, like in 2 years, a lot of the AI workloads are going to be on Java because Java's in the enterprise. It's everywhere, and it's you can adapt or re-platform your entire org, which nobody wants to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually have some data on this. We surveyed a bunch of Java developers and asked them, like, what are you most likely to use for your AI technology? And this was like a year ago. So it's, it's gotten, the data would be even better now. But essentially they said like the vast majority is 65%ish of the respondents were like, oh, we want to build our AI stuff on Spring. And because that's what they're already using Spring, and so for them Spring AI was like the most obvious choice, and then like 15% said that they would build on some other JVM AI technology, and then like the last 15% said that they would use something non-JVM for their AI stuff. And to me that says like people generally want what's most congruent with what they already have, and in the enterprise that's mostly Java and Spring. And so what a great time to be a Java Spring developer, because now we can do the AI stuff in a congruent technology. And this wasn't even true a year ago. Like Spring AI like kind of existed a year ago, but but 1.0 was what, like April last year?
May, I think.
So we're not even a year into like having this as a viable option.
Yeah, I remember a year ago, because we were in Atlanta for DevNexus. We had a customer come to us and was like, hey, we're thinking of re-platforming our entire team over to Python because we want to deploy AWS Lambda functions that talk to Bedrock. And I'm like, we can do that right now. Like, don't do that. And it's like, if you want to make a move to another, like, I'm not going to stand in your way, but I'm at least going to educate you that like you can write Lambda functions today that talk to Bedrock in Java. So, I think part of that has been, probably your mission as well, like just getting out and kind of educating people on what the possibilities are.
Well, and here's a wild story related to that. Is it was also at DevNexus last year when I ran into Josh in the hotel lobby, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? What are you working on? And he's like, I got to show you this. And so he sits down for 20 minutes, just walks me through Spring AI, and I was like, dude, like this is what I'm doing for the rest of my year, and probably for years to come, is like this. Like I had no idea, what was happening in the Spring AI space, and until he showed me that stuff, I didn't know. I was needing to be educated, and so that literally changed the trajectory of my life last year. Was okay. Like this is something we need to help developers understand and get into, because this is where the bulk of AI will be in the future. And one, it's actually really good, and two, it's congruent with what people already have for their like the massive amounts of enterprise workloads that power everything in the world.
Yep. Deshaun, I think we have a new plan for DevNexus this year. We just got to carry around our laptops and go, have you heard about Spring AI? Let's sit down and show you real quick.
Yeah.
And Deshaun's really good at that. So
that's my jam. I like to roll up sleeves, and I got to hang out with you last year at DevNexus as well. But you work at a company called AWS.
We've got DevNexus coming up in like 3 weeks. So
crazy.
You guys back there.
Yeah. You work at AWS. The survey that you were referencing, that was an AWS survey?
Yeah, we didn't post it publicly or anything.
But it was just
yeah, it was just like a
that's like
we ran a customer event, and
they have a few customers
at the end of the event. Yeah, a few customers there at AWS. We at the end of the event, asked them like, how was the event and what'd you learn and how do you rate things? And then we asked them a few kind of market survey kind of questions, just to get a sense for like what are people thinking in this space. So yeah, it was great to see that Spring AI is generally where a lot of our customers want to go. So
see, even at DevNexus last year, I don't know if it was actually in production, but we had customers that were using snapshots. They're fine to move forward. It wasn't it seems like it was so long ago, but it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, I just remember we had customers that were moving forward with it. And I think it was by June, we had customers taking the stuff in production, but we did have it before it went GA. We had customers running it in.
All I can remember from DevNexus last year is the two of you just kicking everybody's butts in Dart. So
that was so fun.
It's good.
We got to do.
We were locked in. We were locked in.
Yeah.
That was so good, and the videos that it had of like, I still have
the frame,
the videos of like you when you like get the like winning shot and your reaction. That's good.
James, I got a question for you. I'm always interested because there's so many like tools and frameworks and methodologies of like using a lot of these tools out here. So anytime I get to talk to someone who's like in the middle of AI, I just like to ask, like, what tools are you using? What are you like writing code with these days? Like, is anything kind of sticking out to you of like, hey, this is really fun to use, or I really enjoy using this thing?
It's a good question. And then, there's so many things that you can choose.
It's so hard to keep up.
It's crazy. It's just wild. So the most recently what I've been getting into, and it's early days, and there's still some challenges around it, but obviously I love IntelliJ. You're gonna pry IntelliJ from my cold dead fingers,
Same.
And I also love CLIs. I've been a Linux desktop user since 93 or something like that. Like I love CLIs, but there are limits to the interaction models that you get in a CLI. And so some people are like, I've completely ditched my IDE, and I'm like, to me, what that says is that you weren't using your IDE well. I love like when I'm in IntelliJ and I tell the agent to like validate something, it runs my tests in IntelliJ with the nice little green tick marks. It does everything in the way that I normally do things in my IDE, like the nice rich diffs that you get when it makes changes to your code. Like the interaction models, when done well, actually are beneficial over nice. CLI.
Yeah. There's so many tools inside of there.
Yeah, and so it depends on like the job that I'm doing. Like if it's like, certainly there's times when I just spin up like Cloud Code, or we've got this Curo CLI, which is like Cloud Code. I just go drop into that and can knock something out. But if I actually like need to be like reviewing the code, making changes, like really like involved in the loop there, like then I want to be in IntelliJ. And here's the cool stuff that I've been playing with lately is they just released support for ACP in IntelliJ. So the AI assistant in JetBrains now supports ACP, which was a collaboration with JetBrains and Zed. And Zed's a great editor. I think they're doing a lot of great stuff in Zed, especially around collaboration and stuff. But still, IntelliJ is my primary. But I love that Zed and JetBrains work together on a standard for how you integrate the CLI code assistants into an IDE. And that's what ACP is all about. And so now with the ACP support, I can use Curo CLI, or you can, there's a whole long list of ACP supporting, code assistants out there, but I can now use those in my IDE. And it's still there's still some rough edges. So it's still early days, but that's primarily where I am with tooling is like, yeah, of course I want to use these tools. I want it to help me, write code more efficiently. And like you were saying, Dan, there's so many projects that I'm like, I would have never gotten to on my to-do list. And I've been just hammering projects out.
Yeah.
And what's weird is like, I think that we're in this weird time where there were so many things that I knew I would never get to. Like I didn't feel completely overwhelmed. Like I just knew like, okay, like I've got a long list. I'm never going to get to these things. But now I feel like, why can't I do it all? Like everything that's on my backlog, I should be able to do now. And so now I feel like completely overwhelmed because there's just now so much that I can do. It's just do I need to spin up like a OpenClaw, little Mac Mini and just have it running constantly with working on 10 different projects all at the same time? Like how do I leverage all the tokens that I've paid for,
Yeah.
Now you've opened up a whole box. So the ACP support, definitely big move. Having things running, the long running process and stuff. I know you've also spent quite a bit of time with Mbabel. We have Simon here, like,
I did
this
see a message
idea
there
where, right, like I worked it in. I realized I didn't have Curo on my list. So backlog, I'm trying to give all these tools the same amount of time. So I can say like, and I cannot brush something off. It's, that's not as good. I want to give them the same amount of time. So now that's added to my backlist. But my backlog, I'm able to go through things. My personal backlog. You put a lot of things on there as like, I want to investigate that, not to like, I want to build out this 9-month project. I want to investigate that. Here's something to think about. That backlog now is getting, it's getting handled.
Yeah.
I can put things on there and I can get through them. And that's
but the doable backlog list just got a lot longer. Whereas I had a very long backlog of things I would never get to. Now it's like why I could do it all. Everything on my backlog I should be able to do.
The idea comes into your head. Normally you might have just said, okay, that's just a dumb idea. Now it's like I can put
you would
that
register
on the
a
backlog.
domain name and then put it on the backlog and never think about it again.
But do you now put a little bit more consideration into what you put on your backlog, or no, or less?
It has been hard, and part of the challenge with I maintain so many open source projects that the backlog is just infinite. And so I have to like figure out like, okay, how much time do I spend on this new thing versus maintaining the like stuff that is already out there, and like how do I balance those two? And so like the last couple of weeks before JFocus last week, I was mostly working on the maintenance tasks. And so this was like around, I've got javadocs.dev, I've got WebJars, I've got like these projects that just need some like care and loving, and so I spent most of my time on the maintenance stuff. But there's so many other fun things that I want to get to. So one of them I actually got to end of last week was I wrote this book called Effect-Oriented Programming with Bruce Eckel and a guy named Bill Fraser, and we're working on a new version of the book for TypeScript. And anyway, it's been a super fun little side project. But I was like, okay, in this modern world, not everyone wants to actually read a book, and that's fine. But what is our content that we put a lot of time into to educate people on things? What does it mean for the people that just want to like go into their AI code assistant and get all that information into it? So it's like, let's have a MCP server for the book, so that the code assistant can go out and actually get the contents of the book. And then I don't want to just give it away. We put a lot of work into this book, so I want it to be authed. And so in a couple hours, I was able to, with Spring AI, of course, get a MCP server with the contents of our book set up and with the authentication to LeanPub. So we sell the digital copy of the book through LeanPub, and with LeanPub, they've got an API. And so now I can actually have people authenticate with the email address that they bought the book with, and then get access in their AI code assistant to the book. And I'm like, that was a whole new thing that I created in a couple hours.
Yeah.
One, in part because of the AI code assistants, and in part because of great abstractions like Spring AI.
In the past, you probably would have looked at that and went, no, that's just not something I'm going to take on.
Exactly, right? New project. I would love to get to it someday and would never get to it. And I just cranked it out in a few hours. Amazing.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was thinking about like, what does it look like? We're in a unique space, but for developers, they've got these tools. They've been given access to the Bedrocks, to the Copilots. They've been given access. And now if you're working, you're at the job and you realize like, oh, I could build that one thing. And there's got to be a new kind of inside talk. Like, hey, do I go and do that thing, or do I focus on the maintenance, the stuff that's been assigned to me?
Yeah.
Right. This is a new trade-off. This is a new opportunity, a new land for everybody, because now we have these tools. We've got to make decisions on, should I go build that new thing? It'll take me a couple minutes or a couple hours, or should I do the boring thing and go?
And how do you use these tools? Because like I'm working on a side project, like I'm probably writing 5% of the code right now. I'm letting these tools write 95% of the code. I'm looking over them, but I'm not like really digging into it because low stakes here, right? But if I'm in an enterprise and our $1 billion app is something that I'm working on, I'm probably a lot more rigorous with what is going into production and talking about these the code changes in code reviews. So it also depends on like what you're working on, right?
It's a spectrum. Yeah. Some things I can just like basically assign to the AI, and what comes out is like near done. I'm going to look over it, but near done. And then other things, very exploratory. I don't really understand the problem that I'm actually solving. The validation criteria or way that I do validation is hard. Like a lot of the exploratory stuff, you're going to be much more involved in the loop.
Yep.
If like with the WebJars and Java Docs one, like these are production things. I can't break production. And so I have to be very careful about, really reviewing these things. And it's not like, a business that's making all this money, but I really don't want to break users of WebJars. Like that's not ideal.
That's part of the community. That's part of doing what we do. That's I feel I've been in other communities. I've been a part of. I had to delve. I said that word into these other communities.
Are you a robot?
No, I'm real. I'm real. I'll hit the button. And the community makes a difference. The fact that we have maintainers for these things that we rely on, that makes a difference. That is a difference inside of the Java community. There are a lot of these projects that are not making anybody money. In fact, they are costing people. People are paying out of their own pocket to maintain it and to give the support and all the time that's necessary.
I run all this stuff on Heroku, and I pay it's not an insignificant Heroku bill every month for this stuff, but it's how I support this community so.
Speaking of community,
I'm grateful that we have a lot of that in this community. A lot of people give a lot.
You said something before, JFocus. You were at JFocus last week. What was going on there?
Oh, it was great. Oh, so it was JFocus's 20th anniversary of the conference. So super fun to be there for that. I've been a number of times to JFocus in Stockholm. Just such a wonderful, warm community, people really eager to learn. And so Josh Long and I did our presentation on Spring AI. We did a deep dive. So went beyond just the basic dogs with RAG and MCP and all the stuff that hopefully everyone has seen already at this point. We've done it a bunch of times. So we went beyond that, added in authentication for MCP. So we set the MCP server up as a resource server, set up an IDP. Of course, Josh live coded all that. And, it all worked. It was the first time we'd done that live, and everything just worked. So that was cool. And then we dove into a few other pieces that have emerged recently in the Spring AI community. Do you want to pull my screen up? I'll show them real quick.
Let's do it.
So this was in Josh and I's talk. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is in the Spring AI community on GitHub, and I went through a few different projects. I just talked about this one. This is one that I've been working on a lot lately with some other folks at AWS, but AWS has a service called Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, kind of a long name, but it's a way to run agents on the cloud, and there's memory systems and all sorts of stuff in Agent Core. But so we talked about the new Spring AI Bedrock Agent Core module that we're working on for Spring AI. And then we talked about this new Spring AI agent utils. And so this is cool because the agent utils, now this is in the Spring AI community, but there's like a ton of different tools that if you're building an agent, especially like kind of like a Claude Code or AI Code Assistant type of agent, you may want some additional tools than what come out of the box with Spring AI. So there's like the Smart Web Fetch tool, the Brave Web Search tool, grep tools, shell tools, like all sorts of just additional things that you may want to just toss into, your agent and have it all there. The skills tool is an interesting one, and this is one where there's been this emerging space where instead of doing MCP for kind of all the problems of I need my agent to be able to do other things, people are defining a skill, and you all maybe use these in your AI code assistants.
We talked to Christian about this last week, so
fantastic. So we don't have to go into details, but yeah, so that's a cool one. So Josh and I showed that one, and then we showed another project you probably talked to Christian about, which was the tool search one. So we showed off this one and showed how you can do a semantic search of your tools, and another cool project from Christian there. So,
and this is we didn't get into this last week because we spent so much time on like the skill stuff, but from what I gather, if I'm using something like Claude Code and I load a bunch of MCP servers in there, all those tool definitions are in there. So I showed an example in a video I did where like 30% of my context window was already eaten up before I'd even sent a message. And so instead of loading all these definitions at once, we can now dynamically just go find the right tool instead of having them all in there, right?
Dynamic semantic search resolution of the tools that make sense given the prompt, and this makes sense for all agents, not just like code assistant agents. Like any agent that you're building, like let's say you're building a airline chatbot, right? And that airline chatbot is going to need access to 100 different tools. You've got the reservations tool, you've got the like flight status tool, you've got the like baggage tool, like think of all the tools that just that one chatbot would need. And instead of on every single LLM call putting all those tools in, just like have the like tool search tool, which is like the meta tool that can then resolve which tools make sense given the prompt, and then only put those in. So it reduces tokens, which is great. But then it also reduces the ambiguity of tool selection, because when you have a ton of different tools all in the same LLM call, there's it becomes a higher chance that the LLM is gonna pick the wrong tool to call. And so when you reduce that tool list, you actually get kind of higher accuracy of resolving to the one that you'd expect it to resolve to. So
cool.
So all of this put together, you kind of mentioned it earlier, like you can go in and build your own custom Claude Code or
AI integration
or whatever. Any agent.
In Babel's demos used Spring Shell, and I was just like, what a great way to deliver this functionality. I love Spring Shell. I've been using that. I like the CLIs. Going back to CLI, I like that. And last week I spent some time working on a new Spring Shell. And there's like a whole bucket of functionality that's been added into Spring Shell 3 and 4 that I was completely unaware of. Now they have like UI elements. So just like all the other terminal based,
TUIs.
TUIs. You can develop your own UI, the blocks of, hey, here's my menu, here's my output. You can do all this, and that's all given to you in Spring Shell.
Yeah.
And my mind was just blown. I was like, what is even happening? I looked away for a little bit. I've got these tools, like back with Spring Shell 2, we'd kind of done the migration to Spring Framework 6. We had GraalVM and all the cool things. So I was replacing all my bash scripts, all my other stuff. I was replacing it with Spring Shell. And now I'm coming back to it and realizing like, oh, this project has gone so far. Like the stuff that I was excited about has just, it's been leveled up. And with all the other tools, I like being able to plug those things in. Now we have ACP. Like, hey, maybe I make some of these tools follow the protocol so I can expand. It's a whole new game. Another kind of thing, I think I'm seeing this in the news, where we're starting to see the change in job postings already as of last week. Like, hey, things are going. Yes, there's been some movement, but the job openings is turning in the right direction.
Well, that's positive.
That's good to hear.
I thought that was going to happen eventually, but it seems like it's starting.
Yeah, good.
I saw somebody post something earlier. It was like, oh, I wish we could put the cat back in the bag. And it's like, you can't. The cat's out of the bag. Everybody was using a handsaw. You've been given a table saw. Nobody wants to go back to a handsaw.
I've seen a couple of takes on this. The other thing that happened last week, there was like some people were just saying like, developers are stressed out and worried and traumatized over what's happening, worried about their job. And then a few of the takes were like, look, same thing happened with the calculator. Same thing happened when we lost the punch cards. What am I going to do? Like, it'll be okay.
We've been through these cycles before.
It'll be okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I get there's a lot of uncertainty right now in a lot of different dimensions. And so it's definitely creating a baseline stress level for a lot of people that's uncomfortable. But here's one thing that gives me hope. So Claude Code, they've talked a lot about how they use Claude Code to build Claude Code, and how a lot of the new development, bug fixes and stuff are actually being done by the AI on Claude Code. So I was just curious a few weeks ago. This was like 3 weeks ago. I go look at what's the number of open issues on the Claude Code repo on GitHub, and it was like, I don't know, 4,200 or something like that open issues. And like, okay, clearly you're already like losing. But then I looked again like a week and a half after that, and it had gone up 800 open issues. Okay. So in a week and a half, up 800 open issues. And then I checked again like a week after that, and it had gone up. Number of open issues had gone up again, like another 600 like open issues. And like, this is great because, a lot of people are using Claude Code and it is a great tool. It's getting a lot of usage. So of course, like with increased usage, it's going to, number of issues are going to go up. And then I just discovered today that because I was subscribed to a Claude Code issue on GitHub, and I got the email that the issue got closed, and it said it had closed because they hadn't resolved it in 60 days. And so in that repo, they are closing every issue that's older than 60 days old. So on top of all this, the number of new issues coming into Claude Code is like exponential. And so like it's like, and they're building Claude Code with AI. So with all these things combined, we can't keep up. So to me, this all just says like as humans, developers, like we're fine. If that hasn't been tackled and they can't get their hands around like having the AI like fully automate all the things to just like be on top of all this, like at least for now, like we're good.
Well, think about it at a personal level. Like we've just talked about it, right? We have a backlog of things. We've been given these tools. Our backlog now expands. Like the possibilities of what we can build now expands. And every organization that I've ever been in, like we've never had enough quality developers to build the things that we wanted to build anyways. So now we're not being asked to work 80 hours a week to build more things. We're just given tools to build those things, focus on like the important tasks at hand, and some of these mundane tasks we can get to, but we don't have to spend all the man hours on doing that. So it's just opening up possibilities. And I can't think of a single organization that if we just knocked off every issue on our backlog, that would be like, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's go home.
Right,
like
we're done.
there's always stuff to build, right?
Always.
So part of what I'm trying to do, and I think that organizations are trying to do this too, right? We hear from the team over at Anthropic. I want to build those systems so that I can take the backlogs for all of the open source repositories, all the things that I'm working on. I want to be able to get some help. Like, where should I focus? Which one has the oldest issues? Which one has the highest CVs? Where should I be focusing? What needs documentation? Where are the things that you can't do for me? Where are the things that you need my input in order to move forward? I'm trying to funnel all that into these tools. And I would just like to have, I know that my day-to-day is going to change. And I'm just eagerly looking forward to when I have a different routine and I have these agents, these flows that are constantly moving. And when I need to add some input, cool. And of course, I like the human in the loop. I like to review things. I like to validate and say, yep, that was valuable. Thank you.
And if you're ever worried that you're going to run out of work, these tools are really good at like pair programming with, but also as like just somebody to talk to. Like, hey, I have this application that I've been building to like manage my content. What are some ideas that you would have to add features to this? And like, it comes up with things that like I wouldn't have even thought of. So maybe as like a side quest at your work, you can go in and say, hey, we've been building out these features lately. Is there anything that's like glaring or missing? And then you can go back to the product manager and say, hey, I came up with this idea for feature X. What do you think about that? And
me and my good friend and coworker, Tiro, came up with this new feature.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say this like pair programming, and I'm doing it. I don't remember what I was going to say. This is, we're in a new spot.
We're in a new world, and it's exciting.
It is exciting. I had a question for you, James, because you're in the middle of all this, and I'm like I said, we're all just like learning one thing and moving on to the next thing and trying to learn that thing. So there's this idea of MCP servers. You've talked a lot about it. I've covered it a lot. There's this idea of agents and agent skills and like a memory file, like a Claude MD or an Agents MD. For me, like these lines are like really blurred right now. Like I don't know where to store information. Like how are you managing? Like I have an MCP server for this. Should this be like a skill? Like which one do I use? How have you been tackling that lately?
It's been tricky to kind of figure out the right way to weave through all of this. I don't think I've figured out the right ways to engage with all of it yet. And so I experiment with a lot of things. I started experimenting with skills, and skills are a weird one for me because skills are essentially just like some markdown instructions and then some code that it's going to execute. And I've been a little reluctant of just arbitrary code getting executed by an LLM or even created by an LLM and then executed. I'm a little more cautious with a lot of these things, and I think some people are just like let the AI do whatever, and then then the AI deletes their production database and they're like, whoops. So I don't know. I'm pretty conservative with how I use these tools.
I was listening to a podcast and somebody like mentioned it, kind of correlating this like the node world, right? Like we have security scans on node packages, and like this one transitively pulls in this dependency, and like we have to scan those things. We aren't really doing that with skills right now. And yes, we can look at a header and see what a title and a description is, but like we have no idea what the body of that skill is doing. Shouldn't we be like paying closer attention to like what some of these things are doing?
Two weeks ago, we had the whole bot thing and the skills. And I want to say it was like 30-40% of all the skills that were in this library, this hub, were malicious.
Mm.
right? Like that, it's
Yeah.
definitely, and I'm nervous. I conservative, if you will. Like I'm a little hesitant, and I kind of been putting things into two boxes. Skills, that's for me. That's for when I'm pair programming with my stuff. And the MCP, I think of that bucket of tools. Those are things that I want integrated into other things. Those are my in-Babel use cases where I have agents, they have the information they need. Not a thing where I'm interacting. I put those, that's how I'm doing it today. It's like the skills, that's for me in my pair, capital AI pair programming. And the MCP servers are the things that I'm trying to integrate into backends that are going to be available for all the things.
Yep.
But those are systems.
I'll give you a couple of examples that I've been using lately. So I have a commit skill. I can just call commit, and basically it looks at my commits, and I have very like specific instructions like, hey, I want atomic commits. I want a good description of it. Just go ahead and do that for me. That's like a task I don't want to have to do, right? So I have a commit skill for that. I used to like put everything in a Claude MD file or an agents MD file. I've since learned that like we really don't want to do that. We don't want to pollute that file with just everything we ever need to know. So I had an example I was telling Deshaun about that. If I build a Spring Boot 4 app these days, Spring Boot 4 now has Jackson 2 and Jackson 3. And if you're going to like read some JSON in, you should use the new JSON mapper, not the object mapper. But every agent I use trips over that and tries to use an object mapper and goes into this loop of like trying to figure it out when I can clearly just say, use a JSON mapper and everything will be fine. So I used to put that in my Claude MD, but then I thought like, this is something I'm going to use across any Spring Boot app I build. So since I've been building out a Spring Boot 4 skill, which basically is just a file that reads from other skills, like if you're using Jackson, here are some best practices. If I want you to use null safety, this is a new feature and here's how you use it.
So this is where I'd like to see more engineering rigor around some of these ways that we tackle these problems. So in that particular example, if I have a Spring 4 dependency defined in my build, I want something to pull in the Spring 4 skill automatically for me. I shouldn't have to think about it. I'm using Spring 4, like pull in the Spring 4 skill, and then the framework should actually like set the instructions that are good for that dependency, right? Like this is like every library maybe needs to ship with a skill that's like, here's how you use this library or framework well, and that should be automatic. Like I should never have to like write my own skill for this or like go download a skill for this. Like that should just be automatic. So I'd love to see some evolution on that.
And you need that there, right? Because the model was trained on a certain set of data. It has tools. It can go out and do these web searches, but that back and forth takes way too long for it to figure out like what I'm supposed to do. And so I'd rather just have that all up front. And we threw around the idea on last week's show of like maybe in the Spring AI community, putting together some skills, like maybe a Spring best practices, maybe a Spring Boot 4 skill that pulls in like a lot of the new features, right? So that would be interesting to see. But that's how I've been experimenting.
Again, we got asked many times, oh, when is the Spring team going to have an MCP server that exposes the documentation so we can learn how to do these things? But for 20 million users, give or take, that's big. Where is that going to live? Right? Who's giving away that kind of infrastructure? Right? That's not trivial. But a skill, on the other hand, a skill that you could deliver, and I'm seeing this in lots of projects. We're like, here's our skills. That this is a move. That's much easier to consume. That's much easier to distribute. Right? Documentation is still super important. But I definitely see a future where skills.
I mean, the case where this probably should live for this case is in the Spring build plugin. So there's like the Spring Gradle plugin and the Spring Maven plugin. Like those things should just like figure out how to bring skills in, because like you need it on the build, like the build system side of things. And so I think those should just have a place.
And we'll figure it out. If we think real hard on this, we'll come up with a way.
And all of these things we're doing is trying to augment some of these limitations of the LLMs. Who knows where that is in a year or two? Maybe it's doing a daily crawl.
Right? Didn't we have 5 different LLMs released last week of these
2 of the greatest models ever? Yes.
Right? Like,
sure.
so, and next week, more greatest models ever. But yeah, we are in this interesting spot. I am trying to build these systems. I think everybody is. And skills versus MCP, that's a decision to make. That's something we have to figure out.
I mean, to answer that question, for me, it's MCPs are about integration. Skills are about instructions and tasks, like tasks that are the AI needs to the code assistant needs to do. And so if you're doing an integration, then use MCP. Like an integration means like you're calling out to some other system, right? Like use MCP for that.
One thing I'm really excited about that I haven't had a chance to dive into, we have this idea of MCP servers, and MCP servers can bring in context. We can augment an LM with some context, especially in an enterprise where we have proprietary data or something that's not been trained on, right? We can bring in that data for our systems to be able to communicate with each other. They can even take action. One thing that's come up is this idea of MCP UIs. Have you had a chance to dive into this at all?
Just a little bit. I think it's great because we don't always run our agents in a purely textual form. Mm-hmm. And so when we're not in just a purely textual interaction mode, we want something richer. And so just as an example is like, if you've got a web-based agent and the agent needs a date, like why do you want the user to like type in a date when they could just use a date picker? Like a date picker is pretty darn fast for like finding a date, and so
filling out a form in general, right? Like
exactly.
I don't want you to tell me to just put all of this random information into a chat. Like fill out a form.
Yeah if you need specific type data, then so MCP UI is the way to achieve that multi-modality interactions like with MCP. I think it's great. I need to dive in more. We were just talking with Christian Zoloff around what the spring kind of story around MCP UI will be, and so there's I think there's still some thinking that needs to be done around this, but I'm excited about the potential there. And then even like other modalities, like I use the new Alexa Plus, and it's great. I've got the Echo Show. And so we talk to Alexa. And my kids love it. My kids just my kids probably spend 2 hours a day talking to Alexa at this point. Just because there's so much to learn. They're just always like, tell me about this thing. And then Alexa starts like quizzing them on things. And it's super fun. But on the Echo Show, you've got multiple modalities that the AI is interacting with you through. So you've got the voice interaction, but then it's also popping up interactive things on the screen. And so if you are in front of the screen, then you can choose to interact through that. And so it's kind of this rich experience. It's both voice and visual. And I think that agents will certainly go into this multi-modality space. Like certainly like text makes sense sometimes, but not universally. Sometimes it's voice, sometimes it's, like we're saying, forms. Sometimes I want to see charts, right? And so this multimodality, I think, is definitely where the agents are going.
I'm gonna have to get me one of those. So if you're listening, go out there, use promo code James Ward for something.
No, the new Alexa Plus is pretty cool. It's
all right. I'm gonna have to check
and it's
out,
all
we have them all over the house. So
yeah. So I don't know if it's the default yet or if it's a beta. I should know that working on Amazon, but yeah, on the Echo Show, it's that's how I use it.
And the reason I saw that is like back when OpenAI showed off their agent apps or whatever over the summer or towards the end of last year. Like, I mean, what is it? Like 8 billion people or I don't know, whatever the number is of how many people are using ChatGPT these days, right? The number is like astronomical. And you could build in apps into this chat now. So like, as you said, like they showed off like a Zillow example, like, hey, I'm searching for a house in my area, find me something. Show me the map. Like I don't want it to return text-based stuff. Like I want to see the Zillow map like right in the chat. I don't want to have to go off to Zillow. And it's like being able to like integrate apps into that is really cool. But for me, the cooler thing is like that's all powered by MCP, like technology we now know and we can take advantage of.
So. Yeah, and that's a use case where like skills probably wouldn't work, for that
right?
kind of
Right.
interaction, and like maybe, but I think that's another place where MCP makes a lot of sense. So I
Yep.
think we're still like in so many of these areas just figuring things out. We're early days of all this, and it's not always clear like what is the best
I
option.
Boris, the creator of Claude Code, mentioned this one day, and it just still sticks with me. He said a lot of these tools now are like the game, like draw your own map. It's like there is no
Choose your
like
own
map to
adventure.
this. Choose your own adventure. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how he kind of pointed out. It's like there's no like straight line to figuring all these things out. Like you said, I think a big keyword you said is you're experimenting. Nobody's going to tell you like how all these things kind of fit together and work. Like you just got to use them and like choose your own adventure. Like whatever I need to build today, like what tool might help me in that adventure today.
Yeah. Yeah, and Anton in our chat mentioned spec-driven development, and
Yeah.
another place where I've been experimenting, and it's been fun to kind of think about how I want to do that, because I think I work differently than others in this place. The way that I do spec-driven development is I actually stub out my data classes or records. I stub out my logic interfaces, and then maybe stub out some specific tests, and I just leave all the implementations as to do. Like, and you can throw not implemented exception, or in Kotlin there's a to do, or in Scala triple question mark, whatever, right? And then that's my specification. So I've defined like essentially what I want the data model and the functionality of this system to be. And the
Yeah.
first thing I do is I go into my code assistant and say, okay, first thing you're going to do is write the tests. Go write all the tests that and maybe I haven't stubbed all of them out. So give me a good test suite first. And then now go build the implementation that passes all those tests that you wrote. And of course I'm like reviewing how it's done with before I move on to the next step. So that's how I do spec-driven development. I think in Kiro and other tools people kind of do it differently. Like maybe they actually create a markdown specification and then have it go build from the markdown. And so I think there's kind of different approaches, but
That was the big like
the one that works for me is a little different than others.
That was the big thing with Kiro, though, right? Like the spec-driven development. That was kind of the big part of the announcement, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that the Kiro IDE was really centered around spec-driven development. It's kind of a hot feature.
It's been funny to me kind of seeing the progression of this, because as software developers, like we've been doing this as part of the SDLC forever, right? Like we gather requirements, we come up with a plan before we write any code, and all of these like vibe coders are like, wow, it turns out that like instead of one-shotting, build me a Twitter clone, if I actually come up with a plan of what I'm going to build first, I get better results out of it. It's like,
It's amazing.
Yes, that makes sense, right?
And often the success of this is determined by how well you can establish what validation is, like
criteria.
what is success criteria.
Right.
And
right.
For me, that's the test. Like
Yeah.
my like in maybe in the world of UIs this is harder, but at least in backend systems it's generally like possible to establish success criteria based on tests, and some mix of unit and integration tests. But this is where test containers continues to be awesome. This is for my integration tests. I just use test containers, and so it is not generally not impossible to establish success, and then I can tell the AI to get to success, and then I'm more confident that what it builds is correct. And then if it builds something totally wonky, then I go back and say like, okay, my tests were insufficient to relay like what I really was aiming for here, so let's go back to the tests and get better tests.
Yeah, I love defining success criteria, and something I've always taken from the JEPs. The JEPs are really good to read through. They have so much information in them. One of the things that really sticks out to me in those, though, is the non-defined goals. Like these are the things we are not trying to solve here. And I think if you do that as part of your plan, like here's what I'm building, here's what defines success, here's what I'm not trying to solve in iteration one. Like we can tackle this later. Don't try and solve these problems right now. And I think all those things together, like you just get better results, right? Instead of trying to this fallacy of like trying to one shot a Twitter clone. Like you mocked up some screens. You didn't clone Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been fun. I've been experimenting with that as well. So
I noticed that in recent times, like where I'm saying, do this, don't do this.
Yeah.
Adding that as part of the interactions, because you get a sense of like where these different, personalities, the different LMs kind of have a different lean. You get a sense of where they're going to go. You can say, no, don't go that way. There's dragons over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a question here, and I want to answer this because I feel like I keep getting these questions over and over. Which is the best when it comes to production ready apps, MCP using Spring AI or using Python? The answer is there is no answer, right? Like there is your existing systems. If your existing systems are written in Java, then they are probably, again, we are in the enterprise everywhere. And what is Java really good at? Running high throughput applications in the enterprise. So if you're there, obviously the answer is Java, right? Yeah. But MCP is just a specification. You could build an MCP server in any language. In fact, on my local machine, I have a bunch of MCP servers, some of which I don't even know which language they're written in, right? They just perform a task and I rely on it. So you can use, we are at the point, as James says, like we are in the enterprise. This is just another integration problem, right? So we're not reinventing the wheel of like, let's go use some other language to solve this problem. This is just an integration problem with AI. So the same thing I would tell Java developers. If you're on Python and you're using Python, like you maybe don't need to re-platform your entire team just to take advantage of an MCP server.
Yeah. Yeah, use what's most congruent. And there's the reasons for that which are worth iterating. One is likely your production infrastructure and your CI/CD pipelines and your testing systems, likely those are not generalized to support every language on the planet.
Right.
At least if you're in a large organization.
Like, they've been tested.
Like if you're a solo developer, very different. But if you're in a team of 10,000 developers, like you probably have like one language you can use, one framework you can use, one database you can use, one way that you get to production, because there's a whole team that's managing all that stuff. And so use what's congruent with what fits with your production kind of how you get to production kind of system. But then the other piece is there is something valuable about what's familiar, because even though the AI is going to write a lot of this code now, like when I have to review the Python code for this MCP server, like there's more cognitive overhead to that because I'm not as familiar with Python as I am with Java. And so even though I'm not necessarily writing the code and can have the AI write whatever code it wants, I still, if this is code I need to maintain and review, then I'm going to choose what I'm most familiar with. And so there is value. And then if you're in a large organization, you've got 10,000 developers that all know Java, and that's the language that they're familiar with. And so what are you going to do? Spin up like a whole new training program so that all your 10,000 developers learn a new language? Like there's a huge cost to that.
And take the actual language part of this out of it. Even if like you can't write code, when we get to production, we have systems in place. We have observability in place. I need to know how to use those tools because maybe they don't work with a different language. Like
your whole DevOps thing is like maybe tuned to a particular language and platform.
Right. And if I need to
deal with JVMs and not
if I need to know how to profile a Java app, I know how to do that. I wouldn't even know how to tell you how to profile a Python app. So like these are things that are just ingrained in us in the systems that we're used to working with, right?
Thank you for saying DevOps. That's a thing, right? Like this, like their systems, like it's not just, hey, I'm a developer, I made this thing, take it to production. There's a lot of other things that go into this being successful. Like you have to have the right pieces in place. And a lot of the solopreneur, I got a bot, I just built my Twitter clone and go to production. You're not done. There's more after the git commit. There's a lot of stuff that happens.
If I could teach vibe coders one thing this year, it's the SDLC. Look it up, read about it, learn what it is. It doesn't need to be like this exhaustive thing, but like there are steps in place for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you talking
Cool.
to your computer when you're pair programming, capital A, capital I? You are
Yeah.
talking
Mhm.
Like voice
Yeah.
talk,
voice language? Yes.
Dictation.
I don't
Not
dictate.
yet.
I
Should I?
do.
Is this the future?
It's
I mean, I've seen the video, the like vibe coding videos with like the guy like, no, move it to the left. You know?
no, I'm not doing that as much, but like if I'm gonna do anything more than type out a sentence, yeah, like hey, I'm trying to build this new feature. Currently, it works like this. I'm thinking about like adding. I was just doing this. I'm thinking about adding a day and a week view to my calendar. But like, how should we do that? How can we? Like, I'm not gonna type all that out. I'd much rather just dictate it. And it helps me with, cure a little bit of seasonal depression here, James. I'm in my basement by myself in the very cold weather outside of Cleveland, Ohio. So I need somebody to talk to once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And talking to AI is better than talking to no one.
It's just thinking out loud, but getting a little bit of like a sounding board, a little bit of feedback.
Yeah.
So where I do
yeah.
that is while I'm driving. I like pull up the Claude app and go into the voice mode while I'm driving, and then just have a full-on conversation with the AI while I'm driving. And this is like, okay, I'm thinking about building a system, and I, would like some feedback on how I'm thinking about the architecture, and so I do that modality, but I've only done it while I'm driving.
Right on. Yeah, I've noticed I'm trending in that direction more and more. Just the thinking out loud, and having something to listen. So yeah, it's
well, we are coming to a close, James. What's next for you? You got some events coming up. What are you working on? Like what's kind of piquing your interest right now?
Yeah, good question. So we got Dev Nexus coming up. We mentioned that.
Ooh.
right
Excited
on the
to be
corner.
back
It's
there.
not
with
too late to
Josh.
get tickets.
Josh,
Get
not
my
too late to
darts
get
going.
tickets. I think Josh and I are doing a workshop, hands-on workshop with Spring AI there. Probably some in Babel in that, and yeah.
Nice.
So
Oh,
I
Rod
gotta
will be
start
there.
getting
He's
on.
giving the
Yeah. Oh
keynote.
yeah, Rod's giving the
Rod will be
keynote, so
there.
that'll be good.
Yes.
So yeah, looking forward to that, and then got a few other events coming up through the spring. Josh and I are still on the roadshow for Spring AI, so we'll
Nice.
hit up a few other conferences. I think we got Vox Days Amsterdam coming up.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
And
Always a
then
good
I'll be
place to
back at
visit.
the Great Indian Developer Summit. And
Oh man, I
Yeah.
always
Love
have
that.
wanted to go there. I tried to go there 2 years ago. I couldn't make it. I'm so jealous.
so good. I
have
went
to get there one
last year
day.
for my first time, and I'd always wanted
Nice.
to go, and finally made it. And just such a wonderful community there.
Yeah.
So looking forward to being back for that.
Cool.
So yeah, just keep on teaching developers how to build AI stuff. We're working on that agent core module for Spring AI, so that's going to be super fun. I think we're at 1.0 RC4 or something, and so
Nice.
we're getting close to a release on that. So I would love feedback if anybody wants to give
Yeah, I'll
that a
definitely
spin
jump
and
in and
see
take
how
a look
that
at
goes.
it.
It's in the the world of AWS, so you're going to have
Yep.
to likely throw in some infrastructure as code. And
I have all that stuff. They're ready to go. So I'm on AWS.
IAM is always a fun part to all that.
I can never remember, like if I don't use it for a month, and I'm like, the hardest part about AWS is getting logged in. Once I'm logged in, I can like figure everything out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
This is good.
So yeah, I got that going on, and then still doing some stuff within Babel. So there's a little sample application that Rod and I started working on that was pretty fun. That
cool.
we gotta get to daylight on that one, and and then working on the book stuff. So working on the TypeScript version of the effect-oriented programming book, and then
Nice.
the MCP servers for those, and so yeah, just experimenting.
Do you have a release date for that yet?
No, we need to set a deadline for that, because it's with all my travel, it's been
It's tough.
languishing a bit.
Yep.
We Bruce and Bill and I get together. We try to get together every week, one night a week, and work on it. And with all my travel, I've just missed so many weeks. So
I get it.
so it's been slowly moving along, but we're making progress. The big kind of breakthrough that we've had is we did the Scala version of it, and the introduction didn't really nail it. Like we didn't really nail the like why of effect-oriented programming, and so Bruce has been really thinking hard and reworking the introduction, and we think we now finally have a kind of good way to explain what the heck are effects and why are they helpful and all that. And so
Cool.
so yeah, so that's been just a super fun little side project. So
That's
Awesome.
exciting.
Well, not everybody wants to be found on the internet, but if you do, where can people find you? Because I'll go ahead and throw this in the show notes as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm on all the places. So James Ward on Twitter, jamesward.com on Blue Sky, James Ward on LinkedIn.
Nice.
And then, Deshaun and Josh and I have our YouTube channel on Coffee and Software. I also have a podcast with Bruce Eckel called Happy Path Programming.
Such a wonderful name.
Yeah.
And the best artwork too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a good one. So yeah, those are all the places.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you taking some time out of your day, James.
Thank you guys. Super fun. Always great to chat with you. And man, I'll see you in like 3 weeks.
We can't wait to do this in person. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm not gonna. I have not upped my dart game, but I'll still play some darts and lose. That's okay.
Get loosened up there.
Yep. Get loose. Start doing some arm exercises.
There you go.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks again, James.
Thank you so much.
And again, we'll see you in a few weeks. That'll be fun.
That's good.
All right.
All right.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.